Welcome to Projects for All. My name's Mike, and today we got JessEm's clear-cut flex and non-flex stock guides to check out. What's the difference? Which ones should you buy? One's for routers, one's for table saws, but I see them kind of interchangeably used for either or. So let's get in here and we'll have a look at these. We'll see the differences of the construction and how they function, and you can make a decision on which one you should buy. So a special thanks to TSO. Not only have they sent down these upgraded fences for the SKIL, and I think we're probably going to use the DeWalt one in this video just for comparison when putting these on, but they sent down the flex version of the JessEm stock guides also. When we started doing these upgraded fence videos, I paid for these and ordered them so we could use them with the video. We did the mini hedgehogs with it too, and they worked out great. Here is the non-flex version of JessEm stock guide. They are almost all metal, very nicely machined. They have a roller here, and we'll see once it's on the saw, but it is a one-way directional roller. It only spins in that direction, will not spin backwards, so helps prevent kickback. Have a 5-degree angle here to force your stock or whatever you're feeding through your router or your table saw into the fence, helping you maintain control, have a better cut. This is the out feed. This is the in feed. They go on like so, but I'm going to show you here in a sec. You get an Allen key in the box to help tighten them down. The boxes, they're home always because they fit nicely in there and they just go right back in. You get some nice instructions here with them. Parts list, warranty card that I failed to fill out, even though I paid for these. All right, well, there's the non-flex version. And then let's look at what you get with the flex version. These are brand new. I took the tape off just to have a peek in here. Got our hardware. They do flex. I can see it just slightly flexing. These, however, are thick plastic, reinforced, I'm sure. And these have the same taper, you can see it there, and the same one-way directional rollers. My hope is that this will continuously stay on the stock while you're feeding, whereas the fixed ones, maybe because of the variation in the tabletop or the variation in the thickness of the material, which is more likely, they tend to sometimes not be contacting the material, which if you're relying on them, I suppose isn't good, but it's not the fault of the tool. It's probably the fault of the imperfections in wood. So we got our handles and some more hardware. These also have a provision for and instructions on how to install this on what's basically going to be a sacrificial fence or an auxiliary fence that you install on your main fence. There's our assembly and instructions for these. There's really nothing to putting these together. You have your hardware for installing it in the slots on your table saw or router, and that goes in like so. Gets a washer. The stationary side here, or pivot side, gets these knobs. The adjustable side, we'll drop that in there. This will get a washer too. We'll just screw them on. There you go. These are indexing. I'll show you when I tighten them down, but you can pull them out and turn them because obviously you could have some kind of obstruction with that. The other part of this hardware is in its own little section of this bag, and this is for if you want to install these on like a wood fence or something that you're going to attach to your main fence. So for us, we should just need these. However, TSO had provided us with 2 of these per fence. So for the SKIL fence, I got 2. For the DeWalt fence, I got 2. I'll have to look and see the instructions, but we'll put these on and have a look and see if there's a reason that's obvious why we would need to use those. Both instruction booklets show these being mounted on a router table. I was going to use this old SKIL router table as an example too, along with the table saw, but the slot here is bigger than this. So these just spin inside there, which is kind of a disappointment. So I don't have a router table to demo this with, but we'll use the table saws and you can have a look at that. Check the dimensions of the slot on your router table before you order these because they are the same. The non-flex and the flex ones have the same bolts here. I don't know if there's another bolt you could use. You'd have to look, but you got just under 16 mil by just over 11, and they're about 4 mil thick or so, just a hair over 4 mil. Check your table saw or whatever slot you're planning on putting these in before you order them. Slot on the SKIL here, actually it closed up a little bit. It was like 16.1 millimeters top to bottom. So here's why you need this little washer in here, because this lever will bottom out inside here before this gets tight. So simple enough. We'll do the aluminum first and then put the washer on top of that, and it's back on, and that'll give us the ability to tighten this down. These go on in just a second, tighten down. You put them both in from either side, it doesn't really matter. What I've always done with these is put the stock under them and press down and tighten up the knob here for swiveling and put a lot of pressure on them. The fences for these job site saws have a little bit of play. I really don't know how much you can see that on the camera, but you're gonna get some movement out of this. Sometimes I wonder how much I'm really contacting these wheels, because as I push down, I tighten it down, and then the fence allows it to pitch back a little bit, so that takes some of the pressure off of this. No, and obviously it's contacting it, I can feel it. If I feed the stock in not touching the fence, but on the rollers, and I push it with one finger, it will suck the board into the fence. And it keeps it there. I mean, you can pull it away a little bit, but for the most part, it keeps it locked in. Let's see if the Sharpie will mark on this. Yeah, no problem. I just want to see if they're always spinning. So you got it there, put like 3 marks on here. Doesn't have to be perfect. I just want to be able to tell if I'm no longer contacting this. Because I do feel, and I can kind of see it, but it's a white O-ring. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes whether or not this is actually spinning or not. That does pretty good. I mean, this is a piece of white oak. It hasn't been through a jointer or a planer, at least that I can remember. I'll put it back in there, not contacting the fence. You can watch it. I'm just pushing it with one finger. I'm not pushing from the side. And they seem to be rolling the whole time. It's a fair example of a piece of wood that's a cutoff. It's got some burn on it. It is got a fair amount of bow in it. Let's try this. Say we weren't paying any attention to this piece of wood or its condition, you know. It's a 2x4 and we're running 2x4s through this, and you know regular construction 2x4s are not going to be perfect. Yeah, the back one just barely made contact the whole time. Probably the only spot it made contact was when I tightened it down, and you can see I can push back. There's resistance, but not a ton of resistance, but it's only contacting. This one's stuck on there, this one's not. And then that's about where I tightened it down on the board, and now it's hitting right there because this is the highest part. Big difference there. Now I've tightened it down on the skinniest part of that board. And now I'll bet you in the middle it's going to be hard to push through because it's thicker in the middle, but it made contact the whole time. So it was spinning the whole time. So, I mean, that's really the disadvantage of these. They are crazy high quality, nicely machined, but there's no give. There's no room for, well, flexing. I'm gonna mark these flex ones exactly the same way. Put 3 marks on them. It doesn't really matter if they're evenly spaced, just so we can see the thing spin. I suspect these are gonna do better. It would make total sense with this bowed, uneven cut piece of wood, which is, like I said, probably a good representation of something you'd see in construction lumber. Now I'll tighten these down on what is the thickest or highest part of the bow. Same thing I'm doing with the other ones. All I do is press down and tighten them down. And those are crazy tight right to the end. I can already feel it. All right, so I'll just push this through with one finger. And look at that, even at the skinniest part of the board, and we tighten it down on the highest part of the bow, we got full contact all the way through. Here's the little 8 1/4 DeWalt. I had this sitting here, so we might as well look at that. This fence is actually more solid than the SKILs. You can see the flex on these. When I push down, it's quite a bit of flex. We can tighten it down. That's just a couple fingers pushing. That's actually too much pressure. Oh, jeez. That's a little much there. I bet you it doesn't even feed. Yeah, it will. It'll pull it in, but yeah, that's pushing our luck. We'll lighten them up a little. Take a little bit of the pressure off. You don't want it fighting you all the way through. Yeah, you know what? Honestly, for table saws, I don't think you can argue the flex is just better. So for $100 or so, you get either or. They're usually within $20 of each other. Do you give up the seriously nicely machined all metal construction of this for the added functionality of that? I don't know. I kind of wish they made an all metal one with some kind of metal flex device on the end of this for this wheel. That would be cool. But you can't have everything, I guess. So there's nothing about this that would lead me to tell you the quality isn't great, and they're not going to last a super long time. They're just plastic, albeit thick plastic. So, you know, it makes sense that on a router table, which is most likely going to be flatter than your average job site table saw, and you're going to be using stock that's more likely to be prepped ahead of time and flatter and straighter than, you know, whatever construction lumber you'd shove through one of these saws. It makes sense that this would be for routers and this would be for table saws, but for 3 videos, I reviewed these fences, which are excellent, and used this, and not a single person in thousands of views told me, hey, those clear-cut stock guides are for router tables, and you shouldn't have that on a table saw. Because I think you can kind of do what you want with that. I mean, they work. I used them for 3 videos, and they were fine. But I do see them occasionally where I suspect that they're not contacting these, the stock's not contacting these O-rings, and they're not spinning, and they're not really doing anything. So there you go. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about this, which one you bought or would buy, and if you found any value in this video, hit like, hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.